Welcome to B2B Marketing and More with your host, Pam Didner. As a leading marketing and sales enablement strategist, keynote speaker, and author, Pam created this podcast to share her professional experience and insights and to help you be a better B2B marketer. Never miss an episode by subscribing on Apple Podcasts. Now let's get started.
Hello, everyone. I've been doing several webinars and podcast interviews in the past 5 weeks. Yes, I am popular. I found one question particularly interesting, and that was from Jeff, CEO of Market Muse, and he asked me, "Hey, Pam, what are some examples of questions you ask to understand your salespeople?" Great question, Jeff. Great question. If you're working with your sales team and don't have a good relationship with them just yet, here are some questions that you can ask to get to know them. It's worked well for me, and I want to share them with you. For a starter, here is the number one question I ask, and it always gets them talking, no exception whatsoever. And the question is, "Hey, salesperson, how do you handle rejections to salvage the potential lost deal?" Oh my God, when you start talking about how they handle rejection, it's like giving them a free therapy session. I am not kidding. They would talk about the different types of rejections they encounter and the frustration. I'm talking about the frustration. The frustration of almost getting the deal closed and losing it at the last minute. You know what? It happened to me multiple times. Now I'm working for myself. I have to do tons of sales pitches. Yeah, there were tons of deals I didn't win. I'm going to admit that, all right? Interesting enough, my salespeople can always recount specific deals they've lost and what they did before and after that. It's a question that gives them an opportunity to tell their personal stories, all right? And I'm simply just smiling and listening. It works. It works. To follow that questions, I usually ask them, "Hey, for those accounts which you lost, should the contacts come back to the marketing database for further nurturing? Why or why not?" Then they start sharing their perspective on the different types of rejected leads. What types make sense for nurturing and which one doesn't. And that's valuable information for marketers to help determine what to do with rejected leads from the sales team. It helps you to work on customized outreach to further communicate with these leads. And depending on how the conversation goes with them, I also ask, what was the biggest deal they closed in the past 2 years? And why they think they were able to close it. They love talking about their major victories. And sometimes they get up, do their victory dance. All right. Again, I am listening and smiling, not judging, not judging. I let them show off their glorious moments. And plus, who doesn't like to share how awesome they are? All right, I do. Then I ask them to dissect their recipes for success. That helps me understand what they did right to close the deal, such as, their game plan, their conversations, their email exchanges, etc. Again, it's really not about interviewing them. It's just a casual conversation over a cup of coffee between two colleagues. The next question is, "Hey, what content do you find most useful?" And I usually have them walk me through the typical sales stages from prospecting, qualifying, demo, proposal, down to the closing deals. What do they usually do at each stage? What does email communications look like? What types of content are incorporated into their emails? Interesting enough, most salespeople still love product-specific collateral and case studies or white papers. And more are asking for video format type of content. Just saying, all right? My last question is always, how can marketing or I help? What can I do to help them? Of course, that opens the floodgates for a long wish list. But it doesn't mean that you have to do them all. You don't have to. It just gives you ideas of what they need and helps you prioritize what you can do to support them. So those are the questions to understand my salespeople over a cup of coffee. Number one, how do they handle rejection to salvage the potential lost deal? Number two, For those accounts which they lost, should the contacts come back to the marketing database for further nurturing? Why or why not? Number 3, what was the biggest deal they closed in the past 2 years? And why do they think they were able to close it? Number 4, what content do they find most useful at different sales stages? Lastly, how can marketing help? What can I do? What can I do for you? Right? So that's the list of questions I ask my sales peeps. So what questions do you ask to understand your salespeople? I love to hear from you. If you are inspired by what you hear today, please leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform, or visit my website at pamdidner.com/podcast. Send me any note or any question you may have. I would love to hear from you. Again, if you prefer watching video, simply type Pam Didner, all right, on YouTube channel, and subscribe. Don't forget, 1 new video every week. So be well. Let's connect again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your colleagues and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.